There are technologies from our past so advanced, they challenge our understanding of history. Number 9. The Lycurgus cup. This is a 4th century Roman cup that can change color.
Look at it from the front, and it's green.
Hold it up to the light, and it glows red.
This cup uses ancient nanotechnology. The Romans mixed gold and silver particles into the glass, so tiny you can't see them.
Scientists think the Romans may have done this by accident, because if it's not an accident, then we don't know how they could have done it.
Making something like the Lycurgus cup today requires some serious tech, and we've only just figured out how to do it very recently.
So the story goes like this. A couple of 1,000 years ago, there was this inventor who came up with something mind-blowing.
He probably puffed his chest out with pride, walked straight up to Emperor Tiberius and says, "Hey, check out my indestructible bowl."
He drops it and bam, not a scratch. It just gets a little dent, like it's made of rubber or something.
Then he casually whips out a hammer and fixes the dent. Bowl's good as new. But instead of throwing a party in his honor, the emperor starts sweating bullets. He's thinking, hold up, if this glass hits the market, what's going to happen to the value of gold and silver?
So what does he do? He orders to have the inventor unalived. The secret of making it was lost with its inventor.
The Romans found out that mixing certain chemicals together created a fire that was unstoppable.
This fire could keep burning on water. Yeah, water, the thing that's supposed to put out fires, just made Greek fire angrier.
So when enemies tried to attack their cities by sea, Roman sailors would go out and throw grenades filled with Greek fire on them. Or sometimes they would spray it from tubes onto the enemy ships. You're on a ship trying to take down the Romans, and you're hit with this fire that you can't put out. That's pretty terrifying, right? It gave them a huge advantage. That's why the recipe for Greek fire was a state secret.
Historians guess it was a mix of things like pine resin, quicklime, and some other chemicals. But no one knows for sure.
So there was this family in Italy called the Stradivari family. From 1650 to 1750, What makes these violins so special is that their sound quality is amazing.
Despite all the science and studies, no one can pin down exactly why, and we haven't been able to recreate it yet. Of course, the Stradivari family had some tricks up their sleeves. They used special woods and had a recipe that they kept a family secret.
Now, because these violins are like the Ferraris of the music world, they cost a fortune. We're talking millions of dollars.
They've become such a big deal that people buy them as investments, hoping they'll become even more valuable over time. In fact, they're so valuable that some of these violins have been stolen over the years and vanished off the face of the earth. About 100 years ago, some divers found an ancient shipwreck near this Greek island called Antikythera. And then this was the world's first analog computer. The ancient Greeks had their own version of a laptop, minus the screen and the internet, of course.
This gadget was like a Swiss Army knife. It could predict eclipses. Manage a calendar.
And even let you know when the next Olympic Games were going to happen. This kind of engineering was way ahead of its time. We're talking about a gap of 1,200 years before. But who exactly made this ancient gadget, and how they pulled it off with the tech of the time, is still a big question mark.
Back when European knights were fighting in the Crusades, they found something pretty awesome and a bit terrifying. Swords that made European steel look like Play-Doh.
They were so sharp they could cut a floating handkerchief in half like it was butter. They could bend at crazy angles without breaking and then snap right back with no damage.
Plus, they had these stunning patterns that looked like flowing water.
But we've got no clue how they made this magic metal. The secret of making this amazing material has been lost to time. The name Damascus steel points to Damascus, a city that was basically the Walmart of ancient swords.
However, the steel wasn't even made there. It was imported from places far away. These are over 300 perfectly rounded stone balls, just chilling in the jungles and fields of Costa Rica. Some of them weigh up to 15 tons and are over 2 meters in diameter. Who made these massive stone marbles? The ancient Dikis culture. Why did they make them? Well, that's what we don't know. These spheres were made by hammering natural boulders with other rocks and then polishing them up with sand. And the rocks used weren't even local. They had to haul these materials from miles away, over hills and through the dense jungle.
Fast forward to the 1930s, and these spheres were rediscovered as workers were clearing land for banana plantations.
But not knowing what they had found, some of them were damaged, or even destroyed, because people thought there might be gold inside. And
this place is a massive fortress built in Peru by the Incas, designed to protect the city of Cusco.
The stones used in this fortress are gigantic, each weighing in at a hefty 100 to 120 tons.
They're polished and fit together so perfectly that you can't even slide a piece of paper between the stones. The big question is, how did the Incas manage to do that without any of the modern tools we have today?
Some folks are tossing around theories like using some kind of ancient magnifying glass to heat the stones, but honestly, there's no way they had a magnifying glass that big.
This place is so well built that even after centuries and a lot of earthquakes, Sacsayhuamán is still standing strong.
Now the sad part is, when the Spaniards showed up in Peru, they saw Sacsayhuamán as a free quarry for building materials.
They started taking it apart stone by stone to build their own buildings in Cusco.
It's a miracle there's anything left to see, but what's still there is enough to blow your mind.
this list wouldn't be complete without the pyramids of Giza. These giant pyramids have been standing tall for thousands of years.
And we're still trying to figure out how the ancient Egyptians pulled off one of the biggest construction projects in human history. Each one of these blocks weighs anywhere from a couple of tons to the weight of a small house.
And the ancient Egyptians didn't have cranes, trucks, or even wheelbarrows. Just a quick trip.
Scientists have come up with a whole bunch of theories. Some say they built ramps that went straight up. Others think the ramps zigzagged back and forth.
There's even talk about floating the stones down the Nile on boats. The idea that keeps popping up is that maybe they did it with nothing more than copper tools.
Water, and an insane amount of hard work. I mean, it would need a whole army of workers going at it day in and day out for years.
That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.